switching to full-time max screening and removing windows from the equation. We had this problem yesterday with a burnout session, which worked perfectly on the Mac, and Windows just did what Windows does. So ignore the technical problems and let's go straight back into what we just said. So as I said, it's too early to start extracting the code and starting to build the final structure. I think we need some more experimenting, and that's why we're in the experiment repository to get a better feeling where we actually want to drift. Because if you look at the pack thing we did, I mean, it's kind of starting to have a structure and it's kind of working, but it's still a bit over the place and feels a bit. I don't have enough information and knowledge and experience to make hard architecture decisions yet. I'm starting to drift in a certain direction, but it's just too early, and so whatever architecture we decide on now would probably mean we change it in 2 weeks and then redo a lot of stuff. So I'd rather keep on experimenting still till my confidence level in Rust is high enough to make that call. And yeah. That being said, so I thought about doing another one of the tools, and if we go into remember we had this pack all script, and basically these are the tools. So the Atlas packer: font, shapes, shaders, sound, zone, config, and scripts. And we actually redid the pack one. And in Atlas packing is, I don't want to do the algorithm to fit the different textures into the Atlas yet. Font is basically a special cased Atlas. I mean, you fit the font, the characters into the texture. Shape is very, very Fiiish specific, so not sure about that. Shaders is just a copy file. Sound is actually interesting, and I kind of started looking into this, and basically, okay, sounds just copies the sound into the data directory, but it also has a sound bank to sound bank, and if you look into this real quick, basically it takes this semicolons separated list and creates a binary format out of that. And I have a feeling this is not leading in a direction which would help us right now. So we keep looking. Pack zone is interesting, but if you look into pack zone, basically it uses a convert new zones tool. So if I look into tools, convert new zones, and there was convert zones and convert new zones. And I'm not sure, because this is using the TMX to new zone, and that basically is using the new zone Ruby. And basically this is what it does is some very special magic, and there's even hard-coded sizes which I don't want in there. So what it basically does is it loads an XML file. Where is it? So it loads a TMX file, and we can just look into the TMX, and basically it parses lots of XML. It parses XML, and then that's a lot of boilerplate, and I'm not sure we'll learn enough from that. So let's keep looking. Config is, so we have this config to config, and then this world config. So basically what it does, it takes the .config, and this is a configuration for the whole game, and I don't like the format at all. So in theory, the whole game is skinnable. So you have the name, the save game name, the coin, the player, various animations here, which probably should have been, please scroll. Okay, which probably should have been not even in here. And then you have the shapes for the collisions and the various zones that are used in the game, and then the balancing. And I'm not happy with this format at all, so I'm leaning towards redefining the structure here when we re-implement the converter there. So also not a good call. So scripts, yeah, scripts. Basically, what scripts does, it's running it through the Lua compiler once, and says, hey, if it's okay, I just copy it over, which is literally a copy, and if not, I throw the error. So also not a good candidate. So there's not a lot left. I mean, in the end, what's left? The pack we did. So this is the one we did. So actually, maybe it's time to use the packer. Shall we replace this mat pack in Fiiish with the actual packer? I think that's what we actually wanna do. And let me remove the old goals because we did them. And this is not a bonus anymore. And the goals is use new packer for Fiiish. And this will probably blow up in our face and show us that it's not working as intended. So cross your fingers. I aim for 20 minutes, could be 10 minutes, could be 2 hours because of debugging. So let's see. And then actually, and I make this a bonus as well because this is not going to be a 3 hour stream today like yesterday. This is going to be an hour, maybe two. Um, so bonus. Actually, I thought while looking at this file, it looks super simple, but all these scripts do the okay. If something changed, then call a tool to do something with it, or if something changed here, basically same. If something in some kind of file type changed, do something, and hard-coded parameters in the middle, and the config, well, the config is just stupid, but the font converter calls various different steps, and the script the same, do something, and then depending on the result, do something else, and I think this could be like a this should could be our next command, looking into the asset build, the content build, how content is converted into data. So content in that case being, it, the naming isn't perfect, but content in our little fish world, let me turn this off, our little fish world, content is the source. So this is what the artist creates. And then data is the output of this, and all of this goes in the end into the pack file. Data is what the game actually uses. So basically the content to data step, and start thinking about the content to data, aka asset build. And this is gonna be big because these scripts here are, they most of the time work, and sometimes they don't, and then too much boilerplate, and ah, let's clean this mess up if we get to the point where we do this. So step one, and I'm gonna close a few windows here because this is getting a bit dirty. I want to look into the pack script here, and basically I want to replace this line with a new tool. So this is where we left off, and actually I want the release build, so I'm going to go into Packer and say cargo build release. We ignore all the errors. It will just magically work, and this is actually, let's be sure. So this is the version that is on GitHub, so no changes. So this will just, and then Actually, when it builds, it creates this target release packer. So this is our packer. Interesting. Maybe we should extend it that it shows the usage when we don't give it any parameter. I'll put this on the to-do. Display usage when called without any arguments. Just to be, and we want to push this, and we need to add the git ignore. I just fetched, so I hope nobody. I would get an error message here, so that's fine. Yeah, so we have this file here, and what I'm just gonna do, I'm gonna copy that to my home directory because I'm lazy. OMT packer for the moment, just for the moment, and then I'm gonna open a new window and get to data work omnimat fish, and then where do I put this? So I'm just gonna put this OMT packer into my bin directory, my home directory. So, and then add it to the path. To be decided. So I can just call it and it will work. So nothing changed in the fish build. I'm gonna leave this window open even if we don't use it. And basically, in theory, I mean, let's steal the command line here because I'm too lazy. And I actually like that it's a variable. So we say pack out equals call this and this, and then this is the OMT packer, and we need to, oops, we need to define this somewhere, and I'm just gonna say, okay, let the tool figure it out. I don't care. This line is the old line. Was this, and obviously the base path now is data. The output is this one here, and I'm just gonna run a quick test, just, and then this is the pack file, the pack list file. So, and I actually want to see the arrows. So what happens if you do pack here? Okay, obviously it does the whole updating, and I want to add a dash force here. Wait a second. This is what I meant. I mean, touch data dot pack list, and this is what I meant when I said we rewrite the script. So okay. Wait a second. Force is true, right? Zero updates. Is this calling? this at all. Okay. Oh, let's try something different. Is it actually packing so fast that ls app data? It's so fast that yeah, so okay, so the new file is 4K and the old file is 32 megabytes, so something obviously is broken, so that would have been too easy. So basically I'm just gonna steal this line and see what happens. 0 files added to, oh, better error handling. Better error handling. And still it's just 27 megabytes instead of 32, which is kind of a slight tiny bit weird. So in theory, we can say unpack and target pass is new Omar, which we have to create, and the input is data is app data new. So this is all the files. And so in theory, we can say old Omar, and we can say the old. And the thing is, can the new unpacker unpack the old data file? And it can. And the oh, this looks interesting here with a file name A for the unpacking and the 0, but actually what we can do is this is the old file and this is the new directory. So what I want to do first is 127 files for the old one and 109 files for the new one. So obviously some files didn't end up in the pack file, which is interesting. So if we just call this line here, and then unpack the old one again, it's 127 files. So our new packer is skipping some files. Wait, it's reading 108. Oh. Yes. Let's unpack the... Okay, now they are the same size, so app data base.om archive, and now they're the same size. What we actually could do is do a diff, and this might not work. So they're identical. So somehow in the pack file there was some stuff that went missing, but these being identical kind of means they should work the same, right? And actually what I'm going to do now is remove the new OMA directory and the old directory. And actually, nice side effect, without the unpack, this would have taken us ages to debug this. But now it's just use the tool, done, and Yeah, so let's change this to this and actually run the pack all, and this will probably, yeah, this scrolling through here, actually it's cannot see because it's moving too fast, but this is actually dumping the font to the screen. You see the X, Y, the Z here, and then lots of debug information, and it packaged it all. And just to make absolutely sure, I'm gonna delete the base OMR and just do this again. So all the data is gone, all the data is recreated now by the new tool. So this means Madpack is history. This doesn't look good. This doesn't look good at all. I'm just trying to find the pack line. So let's just do this again because I have the suspicion that this script is doing something dodgy. This looks better. This looks much better. Yeah, no need to dump 27 megabytes of data. Let's go to Xcode. Xcode, and we do a build, and then we just start it and see what happens. And obviously, these breakpoints we don't need anymore. Yeah, these breakpoints we don't need anymore, he said, and left one in. So we get textures, we get zones. We don't have, oh, we do have music, right? It's just my monitoring that's, let me check something. Yeah, I can't hear it, but I can see the bar moving, so I assume sound is working okay. Well, what we can do is just oh, obviously the simulator doesn't like switching of sound devices, so yeah, I guess you can hear it from my through the speaker, so sound is working as well. So this seems to be all good. I mean, as I said, this might just work or not work, and we'll need to keep an eye on that for the next few days, so I'm gonna stop this and switch back to the capture device, so you will hear it, I won't, so fine with me. Um, so, yes, and actually, let's let's open Fiiish. And so what are the changes? Oh yeah, we did the name change here, fine. And actually I want to correct the name of config file. We did that 2 days ago and I forgot. And this basically says, do I want to load the diff? Okay. And this is basically this is a plus. Use the new Rust based packer for packing the data. Yeah, use the packer to pack. Sure. Whatever. Let's excuse me. Let's push this. So that's step 1. And then we said we want to look into basically this. So in a dream world, I believe what I would like to do is have the OM tool asset builder. Let's call it asset content. Asseteer. The other one is called packer. So OMT asset manager. Doesn't matter. And then say build and then just say, okay, content directory is content and data directory is in this case data, and then I think that's it. I'm not sure if I want kind of archive. Archive is app data. It's here app data base.omar, and don't open this. I'm not sure. It's either this or this. Yeah, it looks the same. So I want this file just to be kind of plan one of these, and then it does the magic. So So this last step is pretty straightforward, right? We have the packer. So it basically says everything that ended up in the data directory, because if it ended up in the data directory, we took the effort to convert it. So it probably should end up in the build. So the last step is pack the data directory and obviously use the pack file. I have no idea how the pack file was generated, actually. This was probably just a CD data and then a ls-1 by the looks of it, which is probably wrong. I mean, it should be everything that somehow came out of a converter should be in this list. So it might be possible that we have also not only the archive but also a pack list here, and just say and you could argue about relative or absolute path, but this could be data.packlist. And maybe it needs a temp directory as well. I'm making this up with you as we go. So this is probably, let's make this a bit wider. This is basically, okay, this is how I want to start it. So how do I configure it? How do I tell it, hey, do X? These are your assets. These are your and I mean, the thing is, I want the configuration for the content conversion with the content. So it's not something else, it's something that's in the same place. And ideally, this is probably a sub repository that's a sub module in Git and where the artists have write access. So they don't need write access to the code repository, but they have write access here, which is a nice line of separation so artists can't accidentally break stuff, but it also means coders have to work in a way that they aren't constantly bothered by the artists that say, hey, new file, new file, new file, that just be magically appear. So I want the config somewhere in here. So I could in the content directory just create a new file and call it, I don't know, asset config dot, I don't know, JSON, YAML, whatever. And maybe we start with that. I mean, the alternative could be, okay, in the background directory, I have a background PNG. And if I want to convert this, I create a new file here and call this, I don't know, background.png asset config, maybe .json, and then I just recursively search for asset config.json, and the convention is, okay, be named exactly like the file, and then if we look into the pack atlas here that actually does the background conversion, I hope here, this file here could just in some way or form say, okay, the tool used here is copy, and that's all. I mean, basically that's what we're doing here, right? We're copying it over. Or it could be for the seaweed, we could have wrong directory. Sorry, I'm thinking loud here. So we have decorations here. It's not decorations, it's obstacles. So obstacles has subdirectories. So in the seaweed directory, we could have one file that's called seaweed, and I'm not sure about the .png. So seaweed asset config, and the tool is Atlas. Atlas texture Atlas, and the command is combine, and then then we just say, okay, and here, by the way, input is this, or actually we say input always is an array, and globs do work, so we could kind of say something like, I'm not so sure yet. So this is in flux, but we could say, okay, basically blah blah blah, say same as here. So a G to A go in there, and then we could have more parameters, so size. And I'm leaning towards having a generic parameters options, whatever, and then have an array here again, and that says, okay, we have one that's size, and size actually is 2, I believe. No, size 2 is 2048. So, and say border is 2, and then output actually is, and probably this content here, it's relative to the content-based directory, so I'm leaning towards not having this here at all. So it's relative to where the seaweed was found. Maybe we even say it's relative to this file, so it could just be that, because if we want to move around stuff, then we only have to move around the file and not patch the files. And the output basically is this. And here you see one of the problems this creates, because the seaweed atlas currently contains all the corals and other, because it fits. So we have to think about how do we handle subdirectories, but for now we could just say, okay, oops, too many quotes, seaweed atlas. And that's actually the look of this. I mean, this is just a file name where it will end up in, and it will end up in the seaweed directory. I mean, it could probably end up also in the, it could be in the obstacles folder and called obstacles seaweed, and then we would see weed. We would probably prefix it, and then we could also do the, okay, what else is in there? So it's the corals that's in there. And I wish there was a JSON parser that A would allow trailing comma and B comments, but maybe we're not using JSON there. I'm not sure if JSON is a nicer format, but that would give us some power to say, okay, we just search for all.asset config.json, and for each of them we do something. And that could even live in parallel with the old one, so we could just say, okay, let's start with I don't know, with a sound. Just remove this line and run this, and just have the asset config.json in the sound directory. And I kind of like the idea. And the parameters are just generic, so it doesn't know what the tool needs. I mean, actually, needs to do some input-output magic, because right now, if you look at this, it does a bit more. But I'm tempted to try this. I'm not sure about the JSON. I mean, it could also be, I don't know. I'm not gonna go XML here. Whatever, it could be tool : is atlas, command is combine, output is, and I'm not sure if we should quote these. Maybe the convention is quote them, and then you can format however you want. I mean, tabs or spaces are just ignored. And then let's just pretend for the moment. So input could be an array. Parameters, yeah, parameters could just be like this. Ignore white space if it's not quoted and a number, it's fine. If it's quoted, it's a string. I'm not sure if this or this is more readable. I like the braces for. I mean, what we could also do is we could just use um, YAML. It's probably gonna glitch again. So we could just use another markup language, and I think this is pretty old, but so this is a YAML spec and just implement it like that. And I'm pretty sure crates.io. That's there has to be a YAML crate. So lib YAML binding for Rust. Is it glitching again? No. No, only 7,000. Okay, maybe this is the one we want, and then we can just load in the YAML format. Maybe not invent our own formats, so stick with either JSON or YAML. And what I like here, it says, yeah, it has over 3 million downloads, so it's probably pretty stable. It's pure Rust, and it can emit events. Okay, so documentation looks kind of solid, and this example looks like, yeah, okay. We load it from string, okay, and then we say first, YAML. I'm going to move the spec off screen just for. I mean, if this was YAML, and again, we haven't decided yet how many files we. Yeah, my watch is telling me to stand up. I'm standing, you fool. So, so if this was YAML, we wouldn't need the quotes, which I'm not sure if that would make me happy. And here we would say dash instead. And here it would be. Can we just say. So this would probably be a mapping. This could be okay. I mean, do we want to go with the YAML? Let's just for a second assume we had a new file and saved this as we wanted in obstacles, and we called it seaweed.asset. I don't want to call it just asset config, because then we would have to tell every editor this is YAML. I don't want to call it just YAML, because then could be YAML file that be used somewhere else. So this double extension kind of. And it got auto formatted. I mean, this is something we could live with. So this every asset config has to have a tool. So which tool do I want to use? Okay, I want to use the Atlas tool. It by convention it has to have a command. And yes, our old tools don't have a command, but I actually want that. It has to have an output, and this is going to be interesting because this is a template, so this is not the file that's output, but when we do the dependency check, so is this newer than the stuff that was, so if seaweed A changes, this file needs to be generated, so we need to check file stamps, and this is what's this messy stuff here says. Basically, hey, find the oldest atlas and then compare, and I would say this will just brute force, convert everything unless yeah, we spit out a gcc-d, so makefile compatible output. So this is just dummy here down here. So when the tool runs for the first time, it will say, okay, seaweed atlas dash 0 dot what's it outputting, dot otx. So it outputs an otx and a map, and actually it's outputting an atlas and a .png. So the atlas file is, let's say, coral 0 ended up in his own atlas, or both corals. We have two corals, and then also it creates a PNG file out of the same two PNG files. So we can cache that output, and maybe we have a convention that says depend. I'm not sure about the wording here. Dependencies. Maybe we do it like this. I don't know. Or maybe we just say dependency. This is a dependency. Maybe we do it like this. I don't know. It could just output the dependencies. Maybe it just spits out a dependency file. Actually, maybe not sure. But it would be nice if the tool on the first run actually told us, hey, this is the dependencies, and this is living. So for example, we make this this coral 0 bigger. We blow it up so they don't fit into the same file anymore. So this is first run, and then on a second run it will actually say, okay, no luck here. Our dependencies just changed, right? And then the same, obviously, down here. Yeah, and this is actually kind of starting to feel okay-ish. And then next time we make it smaller again, so it switches back to that. So it always has kind of the if none of the dependencies change. So there are two cases. One of the dependencies here is newer than the created file, then we have to do it. Or we have a new file. For example, we add, I don't know, test something here, and that doesn't appear in this dependency tree. Then we also have to do a full rebuild. So whenever dependencies don't match anymore. We have to do something. I mean, this could be even smarter, but I don't want to be too smart because this is fast anyway. So it could say, okay, if this dependency changes, just run this command. So it could have a atlas recombine, for example, and then just pass in the rules, right? I mean, overkill. But these dependencies are nice because we can also see how they interact. And maybe later we have dependency trees. So okay, we have a pre-converter that converts PSDs to PNGs, and then a PNG to atlas, and then an atlas to data file, and then a data file to data bundle or something. So having the dependencies is nice, but I think we start with this. I like this. I really start to like this. Do you? This obviously needs to sink in. But as a start, so I don't want one per file. I mean, I could have one per actual file, but that's kind of no. I could have one big one, but that's kind of no, because when I move stuff around, it all breaks. So I want one per directory. And it can be in here, like this, or it can be in here. And I kind of like the idea. And obviously I totally missed there's also matching XML files. So what we could also do is if we go here, and this is just example dependency output, and I think the YAML spec has something like multiple. So we could say, okay, this is block 1. And then the second block is just tool. It's not Atlas. It's actually, if you look into the peg shape, it says, okay, obstacle seaweed XML. Interesting. So the Atlas this here is called for all inputs at once. And this one, the shaper, the shaper, and I'm not sure. Maybe we call it build. The shaper says for every file, we have a different pattern here. So for every file in this list, which will be, if you're still in the same directory, will be this. So for every XML file, and yes, we have an output, and that output basically is, actually we have 2 inputs. Am I overthinking this? The thing is, we need to run the shaper not on the directory. We run it on a single file. So this is, we run one for all inputs, and this is, we run, and that the parameters obviously are not here. I'm thinking loud now. Obviously. So this will not be a seaweed atlas, it will be a seaweed.shp. So basically the output is .shp. And this is single file. So how do we tell it this is single file? I don't want to write a full language here. So thinking out loud. We could say the parameter here is actually, yeah, input, sorry. But this is, we could have some kind of each input and actually pluralize this here. So here this is one string, and this means, hey, we have multiple and we have multiple outputs, and then have a convention that says, okay, if here's a question mark, then replace the question mark with the same. So input, if I look at pack shape, it probably should have a shape input and a PNG input. Don't ask why it needs that. Tool is black box, but it has a shape input, and actually we want we remove the XML and replace it by PNG. So this is each input. It has a PNG input. Let's say it has an image input, and that's each input dot XML to dot PNG by convention. I mean, yeah, this is basically substitute this by this. Maybe this is good enough. And then the output is just each output. Maybe it's each input and then the substitute .xml with .shp, right? Well, technically we don't need this line at all. I'm not sure how to. Oh. And then this means angle brackets might not be the best solution here. I'm not sure how to quote angle brackets in YAML. Oh, wrong window. Escape. Any excluded characters must be presented using escape sequences. Quote. So I think you can enforce quotes in YAML, so all of these probably should be like this, which I would prefer anyway. Right? And numbers don't, but and then we don't run into the YAML parsing. It's an online YAML parser. Online YAML parser. I look for a verifier, but yeah, let's just check if this format is kind of right. Okay, it doesn't like tabs, which is a pity, but fair enough. What? Output. Oh, is this a tab too? I mean, fair enough if it's just the tabs. I can live with this. I don't know why, because white space is white space. Some people just have a vendetta against tabs, and I have no idea why, because tool atlas. I expected a single document in this stream, but found another document. Okay, maybe it cannot handle the multi-document thingy. Maybe this parser just sucks. Okay. If you just use the other variant. Yeah, okay. Not too bad, and all our stuff is still intact, which is kind of okay. I wonder if an artist could let me move this away. I wonder how readable this is. I mean, probably. Let me gather my thoughts and grab a coffee. So I would say we start with this. Inputs and input are mutually exclusive, but we need one. I mean, technically we don't even need one, but then we need a dummy file. For example, we want a git hash or whatever. but then we have a dummy file as a dependency. So I'm leaning towards trying to do this. And for now, we just write this tool here that can handle this stuff here, and then just echo out the commands it would have called. And that's a nice start, I guess. So this is CRC issue, tools. This is a packet directory. So let's go. Asset tier. Asset manager is too long. Asset handler. Let's just call it asset. Let's just call it asset. And we go into that, and the usual cargo new bin asset. And we just do cargo run, and have our empty hello world. And then what I actually want to do is, and let's do this a bit better than last time. Because and just say touch content, and we actually call it test asset config dot, and we're not even gonna do the, oh, we're gonna do the find recursive, and then the test. Nope. Let's just steal this as an example. I'm not going into the more complex one today. Where's my other? Sorry, too many open windows. So we're just gonna do this, and if we get to the parsing today, I'm more than. Some people say don't align, I say do align, because otherwise you get some unreadable mess. So input meaning this is one, inputs meaning run it for each file to get out of this. I like it. So I'm gonna so we are here. And this is a source, and this is a main. And since I am a bit lazy, I'm just gonna copy this. I'm not even sure we need the extend create anymore. That feels a bit old school, rusty. So we're gonna use this, but that means we need to add clap to the cargo toml. Right, so we just actually, we're in the right directory, so we say cargo run. It's pulling in the dependency, which is fine with me. It's pulling in a lot of dependencies, but it's a tool. It's open source, so I'm not worried. Still saying hello world. And what I'm also gonna steal is the whole I'm just going to copy the whole main for the moment. Don't worry. And then we clean this up. So the subcommand we wanted is, we don't need Xcode, so the subcommand we wanted is actually this. So subcommand is so basically we want this. Too many. So the tool is OS asset, let's say it's 0.1, handles asset handling, handles assets. Yes, the about could be a bit more, and the only subcommand we have is build, and it has a content directory. What's the key for to upper? KU. Command KU. Nice. That the content directory. And actually we have a content directory. We have a data directory. Data directory. We have an archive. Not sure about this yet. And we have the pack list, and also not sure about this, but there's no other subcommands. So if we have a build subcommand, then content directory, and yeah, we're gonna shift paradigms here, but and the dots here, yeah, I don't. Output is archive. Pack list is pack list, and data directory is data. Right, and then we just oops. Oh. Yeah, I know. Thanks. Too much boilerplate. I want to align the and then we do something with it, right? And I'm smelling. Wait. This repeating pattern here looks awfully like we can kind of make a convention out of that. So if we handed this now, yeah, temp directory, data directory. Oh, we forgot the temp directory. Nice. And then obviously down here and down here And this is gonna be temp. And this is and this is where mistakes happen, so cutting and pasting and forgetting to. Well, let's try this again. This doesn't look too bad. Obviously, our test case is dot 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 content. Interesting. Dot dot temp. Dot dot data. And dot dot base dot omar is fine. And it writes it into the good enough, right? So this is our test case. And obviously this is doing nothing yet, but we have the boilerplate for a new command line tool. How are we doing for time? Running a bit over. And we did this here. So this is nice. So what I want to do is I want to do the struct asset. I'm not happy with the name here, but it's the whole assets. It's content. But let's stick with asset for now. And then we have a function here that says build, right? And that does something, and the bool is wrong here again, but remember our pattern was return this here. So let's stick with the pattern, and actually let's put it on the new line, and we just return a OK0. Everything worked fine, but we did nothing. So then we do the same as here. Assets built or arrow, and obviously oh wait a second. This was just a standalone function, so actually I like this one better. Let's try. I mean, asset build asset tier, and obviously we want content directory, data directory, temp directory, archive, and pack list, right? I'll show you in a minute why I'm doing this. Readability. Yes, less eye travel. So nice line up here, which means you can just travel down the line here without having to zigzag, and then you can move down here to read the parameters, and actually I'm just gonna steal this parameter block here and do the same here. And obviously I have to kind of tweak this a bit. All of these are strings, and we borrow all of them non-mutable, because we're not going to change them. We use them, but we don't change them. Wouldn't make any sense to change them. Right? So if we run this, hmm, sorry, oops, yeah, this is better. Okay, process exit is in standard process. And it's, so we're not using it, but basic structure in place. And I want to get to the point where we find these. Nothing else, just output, hey, I'm going to work on this, and that will be it for today. So step one is find all asset config.yaml and dump them. Just output them just for show. That's where we end today, and then parse YAML call tool. Right? That's all basically, and this will be in a loop, and that's all. And this here is today. So until here, so this is next time, and this is today. So I have no idea. I mean, we used the file system stuff, so we we remember we did the metadata. So I'm pretty sure if I open the Rust documentation, Rust find files in recursively. Yeah, give me a second. I don't want to get into the read dir. Oh, there's a glob crate. No, glob doesn't exist anymore. Okay. There's a crate called glob that has 4 million users. So this one here. And this basically here, this down here, looks like exactly what we want to do. So let's try this. So what we need to do is say use glob, and this probably is going to fail us, but so for config in glob, and this is basically, again, we do this here. So we say config glob is format the base path /*/star dot asset config dot yaml. And this is not the base path, this is a content directory. And this is an expectant failed glob pattern. And then we just match on the config. And the error case is we can just pass this on. I mean, yeah. And okay is actually config is not a, let's say config file. This is a config file, and this is a config file, and then we just say okay. Say we found it. Config file is this, and this is config file, not config glob. So, oh, yes, obviously. And we need to fix the import, so let's fix the cargo toml and say glob. And let me quickly check the version number. That's current is around about 0.3. Okay, it's expected string found. Oh, yeah. There will be the day when I automatically borrow when I need to borrow. Yeah, so error finding config. It's I'm not even sure when this will trigger. Look, config file found. I mean, this is the file we just created, right? So that was too easy. Let's create content atlas. And then just because I'm lazy, I'm gonna copy the content test asset to content atlas test atlas config atlas asset config dot YAML atlas. Yeah, same. So it should find both of them right now. So it's finding both of them, which was much easier than I thought. I mean, standing on the shoulder of giants here. So two options. We just read the file in and dump it, and then write the YAML parser next time, or we just read in the YAML and dump it, because that's what we want anyway, right? So we're just gonna go all the way. So um, use YAML Rust. That's the one we looked at earlier, and say I want the YAML loader. And let me quickly, version is YAML Rust, the version is 0.4.3, and actually we don't care that much right now, but so YAML loader, opening the documentation, has a load from string. Rust YAML loader from file. So basically what we do here, and I'm leaning towards doing this in multiple steps. So we could just write the code here, but actually I don't want this because then we don't know progress bars and stuff. Let's find them all first. So let's have a mutable vector of config files that is just a vec new, and here we just do a config files dot push config file, right? And then we can say for config file in config files do just print it out, right? Oops, this is not YAML Rust, this is YAML Rust, really? Oh, naming, okay, fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. I wanted to say config file here. So basically, this is generating the list phase 1. This is working through the list phase 2. So we can have, we remove this and say print line found x config files, and then just say config files dot size. Is it size? Length? It's probably length. Just guessing here. No? Rust vec length dot len. I'm not sure why they were lazy there. So we found 2 config files, and then we can just say, okay, we're handling config files. So that gives us, especially if it takes longer, it gives us some kind of feeling for it. And now, so what we want to do here is, and we're doing the ugly version. Mic is on, yeah, we're doing the ugly version first, and then we do the cleanup version. So we want a mutable file, and just do a file open config file, and failed opening file. Yeah, I looked a bit into and then just say mute config, and that's basically a string. So we read everything into a string and then parse it from there. File dot read to string, and we need to borrow mutable the config. It's basically read everything, read this file into this string. Basically, I looked a bit into patterns for error handling in Rust, and let's see if there's failed reading file. I'm not sure if this is a better pattern. I'm not sure. And then just say let YAML equal YAML loader. This is straight from the docs, so load it from string and borrow the config there, and then we just unwrap that. Right, and this will probably just blow up. Okay, we haven't declared file, fair enough. I mean, Yeah, I use standard file system file actually alphabetically is this, and then the unwrap. The read to string is. I know this because I've done it before. It's in the standard IO. Use standard IO prelude. And don't ask what they have been drinking with the whole prelude stuff. And thee who can spell shall be the better coder. Okay, so no no errors here, so let's just dump this out and say YAML. I'm not sure if it has a printer. Oh, it's ugly, but it kind of this looks like our content. So the parsing works, which is nice. So what's the pattern here? So let tool equal YAML. How do I access reading the documentation here? Well, actually the examples. So I guess I can just say tool and then just say print line tool is tool. Tool is tool. Just checking if this works. What? Oh, do we have to do as string here? Slice indices are. Wait, what? Let's. Oh, I have a hunch. So remember how we wanted to do actually this? Tool no op. And I think this is what's happening right now. So tool atlas and then nope. Oh yeah. So if this was pretty print, this would be this here. And this is the second one, so this is actually an array. So and we wanted to do that, right? So we do for document in YAML. It's called document in the official if you look into the official documentation, it's called document. So for document in YAML, do this, and this probably needs a borrow somewhere. So basically we say, okay, the tool, and that handles automatically multi-tool handling. So tool is some atlas, tool is some no up, and tool is none. So which is correct because technically this here is the first document. This is the second document, and this is the third document. This empty line here. So this is kind of okay. No, it's not kind of okay. It's okay. So we need a tool we have an optional command, and then we have output, input, and parameters. Do we want to go into that? I mean, what happens if we, okay, we want a tool. We want a command, but command is optional. So will this blow? So if I do tool, and this is just parse everything and then actually do the work. I don't want the magic dot to appear when I press space twice. So atlas combine, no up none, none none. And basically we say, okay, if tool equals none, can we just continue? We can. And otherwise we do a match tool, whatever. No up, do nothing. Nop, do nothing. And in all the other cases we say command not implemented. And we're kind of cheating here. Oh, obviously we need some and now that I look at it, mixing languages again. So tool, and it's basically saying, hey, you idiot, you didn't match none, so we just put the continue here, and then yeah, remove it here. Fine with me. More debug noise, but and actually let's not print the YAML here. So if I run this again, and actually after every let's do a visual marker here. So this is the first config file, which is this, and it has multiple commands. So actually, for each command, we also do a being a bit printy here, but just for visual readability. So this is the first config file. This is the second config file. This is the first command in the first config file, second command in the first config file, third command in the first config file. And that's nice. And now we can do the generic parsing of, I mean, obviously, I would check for the existence of output and input now. So same output. Output is a string. Input is input, and I'm not sure I want this as a string. I'm gonna see if he fails. Intentional failure. Can you Please not kill my formatting. Thank you. It's gonna fail, I guess. Okay, so output works. Obviously input doesn't work because input is an array. And we could define that input is always an array. I mean, we could say if it's just a single thing, it could be nothing.txt. And here we have an input. So, so I'm diving into the as vector. Oh, so we can do a. So how do we handle this? Okay, here's the deal. We say input is always a vector, and then if doc input is array, then we say else we say we try to get it as a string, and then match the input. And if we have some input, then we just say name aliasing. I'm just gonna cheat here. Then we just add it. We just add one, and if it's none, we just say, okay, do nothing. Fine with me, right? And then we gonna, so, true. Cannot borrow as mutable. Oh, yeah, obviously this needs to be mutable. So we fixed the case where it's just exactly one, so we always get a list here. And then we can we just say, if it is an array, we say for I in doc input. We just print it right now. There's a reason. Cannot move. Oh, I'm getting this borrowing stuff soon. It's not an iterator. Oh, obviously we need to get it as a vector. Right? Okay, and we have here's oh, it's just, it's not an iterator. It isn't. I'm just okay. So the problem is this needs to be on. I want a vector here. Is not an iterator. I want it to be an iterator. Oh, is it? Do I have to? No idea what I'm doing here. Nice. I want to iterate. Actually, I mean, okay. We did this, right? We did this, and this doesn't. This works. We get them all as one array. So what I'm just gonna do is don't do this at home. For I in I, how can I iterate over? Okay, so doc input as vector returns an option. So we say if this is none, well, do nothing. If this is some I, then do, and again, I'm looking for the idiomatic way of doing this. I have no idea what I'm doing here. So I is an array, and that's what we want, right? The other case here is broken. So for I in ice, so this is what we actually want to do. And then we do we are a bit lazy. Let I equal I as string. We want to be sure it's a string and not a number or whatever. And then we just say input dot input push I, right? And this will fail again. Yep. Input is a vector of string. Oh, yeah, I did. Wait, input. I just want to check something real quick. The type deduction should work. I'm just forcing it to be a string list for the moment because, yeah, because it's actually this line here that's pushing the. Why is this still an option? Oh. String new borrowed. I just want an empty string here. Actually, what I want is match. This is I as string, and none again, do nothing. Some as I say input dot push s. Right? What? Okay. Wait. I'm not. I'm not happy with this, but let's hack this for today. So now input is always an array of something. So it's either zero-sized array, one-sized array, or a multi-sized array, which is fine for me for today. And I'm pretty sure there's a cleaner way, and in theory now we can remove this and let type inference do its magic, and it works. All right. Yeah, it's nearly 80% there. I think this is enough for holiday. Actually, the parse YAML we kind of actually the parse YAML is here. The read YAML is here. We let the comments in there. The hack is today is a bit of cleanup, tiny bit of cleanup, and then next time we do the call tool, right? And this needs some how to handle the input and stuff, but I like, because this is kind of a good start. I like it. So if we copy target debug asset to tilde bin omt asset, and then go into the Fiish directory, and let's say copy pack to pack with Rust. Actually, no, we copy the pack all. And we don't want any of these. So actually this line here, right? What happens if we just run it? Thread panicked. Well, it found the tab. Okay, there's still a tab in which is this? The seaweed asset config YAML. And yeah, there's still view. How do I show indentation? Display. Show. I have no idea how to show the invisibles. I thought it was under view. Is this the wrong? I mean, obviously the error message, so we should catch that error. And obviously this is just junk. So this is just junk, and probably there's still a tab here. Did we catch them all? Let's try. Yeah. So the input is right. The output is there. Input is empty for the shaper because we didn't implement inputs yet, and then we have the empty one down here, which is kind of fine. So this is starting to work. But I will give up for today. Well, I'm not giving up yet. I will do one more thing, and that is git add. I add the content. And I add the data. And I add the temp. I mean, they're just empty right now, but. And then I add the asset, the cargo, toml. And then I add the source main. And yeah, we made quite some progress on the start syncing of this thing. Why did I? Yeah, this looked good. So this is a good start. Let's actually commit this. So we have 4 files here. Started adding asset tool. Let's flag this as work in progress. Always fetch before rebasing. Well, not always, but if you intend to push, you should. So we get some nice stuff done today, which is pretty cool. This makes me I didn't anticipate to get anywhere this far. My motivation was like down here, somewhere down here, and then you just pull through and work on it for a bit, and then you kind of get dragged in, and oh, this little bit more, and a little bit more, and a little bit more, and suddenly you have this basis for an asset tool, and this is looking pretty cool. So that's it for now, not for today. Um, I won't be here tomorrow. Big family thing going on. I know, but it will be fun. I'm not sure if I will make Sunday. Uh, if I make Sunday, we look into this again, definitely, unless it's super late, then plan B. I will do more research into that racer today, so more burnout this evening. Not as late as last time, so I don't know, start around 8ish. No, start around 9ish, and then go for 2 hours. So hope you like what like oh, hope you liked what you saw. Hope it gives you some inspiration for your own stuff. This is moving much slower than it would be if you work on your own and don't talk to people, but that's fine. So again, I want to practice this streaming thing and video tutorials, and I really hope. I'm not saying use this tool, but take inspiration for your own tools and give me some feedback if you actually use it. So lights out. I'm gone. Bye bye.